We will look at the trade war between United States and China. Recently, United States banned the sale of U.S. companies to Huawei. The Huawei, the Chinese company. It also banned the Google to provide the Google source to Huawei also. This is because Huawei has been stealing information from United States and its alliance countries. As a retaliation against this, China is envisioning to ban the export of rare earth element to the United States. This material, rare earth element, is a key material to manufacturing the semiconductor industry. It's very important. The majority portion of these resources is come from China, as long as I know. Almost 90% of this material, rare earth element, is in China. Since the Trump government began in 2017, the trade dispute has been between the United States and China have identified, and the term trade wars, is now progressing to the uncomfortable level. Since these two countries have large portions, as in the world trade, it's very important to identify and cope with the effect of this dispute on neighboring countries. So let's take a look at this in this video trip. Okay. Okay. Then it is necessary to understand why trade conflict between the United States and China has occurred, right? First, U.S. China trade conflict can be seen from 2016. Before the Trump government was born, President Trump made an pledge to reduce the trade deficit with China in order to overcome the ongoing U.S. trade deficit. Okay. In particular, he promised not to keep up with the challenge of high-tech product, which has a very advanced technology, right? And this kind of product is main product of the United States, and as a result of this project, President Trump was elected as a president of the United States. President Trump therefore has a fatal obligations. He has obligations to make the commitment during his tenure, right? During his tenure. But above all, the major factor in the trade conflict between the U.S. and China is unfair trade in China. Unfair trade in China. The most important part of this unfair trade is that China do not have a legal system. What kind of legal system? To protect intellectual property rights. Okay. However, China is taking off intellectual property rather than system maintenance. China's mandatory transfer of intellectual property rights. This kind of property rights occupied 40% of U.S. economy. There is seriousness. Okay, there is the reason why the U.S. government is very upset about this. Okay? In this modern time, especially, intellectual property rights are very important determinant of economic structure. China does not allow the companies that investment in their own countries to have more than 50% stake. 50%, less than 50%. What is the meaning of less than 50%? The investor, he invested in China but because of the limitation of the 50%, he cannot wholly completely occupy his own company. Okay? Because of the share of stock he can take. China also allowed domestic investment, but it is also subject to the transfer of technology. This is a seriousness, okay? This is very severe condition. If you want to invest in my country, you have to transfer your technology, okay? Your technology to our country. Okay? This is policy. This is FDI policy. This is the policy of China to attract a foreign country in his land. So, in this respect, in this view, the U.S. think this is unfair trade in China. Next, if we see the Chinese position in terms of Chinese point of view, through Mao Zedong, Deng Xiaoping, Hu Jintao, China concentrated on building internal strengths and refrain from revealing their strengths outside. However, in the course of financial crisis 2008, China saw U.S. financial firm collapse. By moving, China feared that America is not such a strong country, and China is finally slowly starting to reveal its power. But once China comes to seizing, they try to start the challenger against the U.S. with the China Dream and China 2025 in front of U.S. China 2025 is China's key to advanced manufacturing. Advanced manufacturing refers to industry such as aerospace, semiconductors, medical devices, and pharmaceuticals. These industries are dominated by developed countries such as US and European countries. It is a recent trend that the employment of advanced countries is gradually getting smaller. Why? Due to the improvement of technology level in less developing countries. Then, why this phenomenon happen? To know this, we need to back to late 1919, early millennium 2000, with the wave of globalizations. In 1990s, developed countries expanded their market, but now, conversely, developed countries have changed their paradigm to protectionism. Protectionism is to protect their industry, domestic industry, because of improvement of technology of these less developed countries. The export from advanced country, but now conversely from less developed country to developed country. Okay, situation changed tremendously with the high technology. The high technology is a problem. Okay, to the advanced country. The United States was a forerunner of free trade actually, but now, as seen the U.S. and China trade conflict, there is an irony that becoming the forerunner of protectionism is, this time, advanced country. Okay, this may be a first clip of the video of my lectures of U.S. and China trade conflict. See you next second clip. Thank you.